Money, some people have it. Some don't. Some have mastered it. But most are still chasing it. You might think of money as just numbers, spreadsheets, and math, a problem to be solved. But the real financial decisions are made far from calculators, usually around dinner tables, where ego, pride, fear, and personal history play a much bigger role. The true nature of money is the balance between the cold arithmetic of spreadsheets and the complexities of human nature. When it comes to money, we are complicated creatures. Financial success is less about how much you know, and more about how you behave. This video is inspired by Morgan Housel's brilliant book, The Psychology of Money. Let's explore the strange and human side of money. Financial DNA. We all come from different backgrounds. Our parents had different incomes and values, we grew up in different economic environments, and we had different opportunities. As a result, we all have unique experiences with money. Take the stock market and inflation, for example. People born in the 1970s witnessed nearly a tenfold increase in the S&P 500 during their teens and 20s. This shaped a positive view of the stock market and a stronger inclination to invest. Those born in the 1950s saw the stock market stagnate during their younger years, leading to a more cautious or negative view of investing. People born in the 1960s lived through significant inflation, shaping a more negative view of inflation and its effects on finances. Meanwhile, those born in the 1990s have experienced relatively low inflation, and thus may not be as concerned about it. These early experiences have a profound influence on how we approach investing and financial decision-making. Everyone justifies their financial decisions based on the information available to them at the time, as well as their personal history. Even when we lack information or make poor choices, our decisions make sense in our own context. As Morgan Housel writes, people do some crazy things with money. But no one is crazy. We all have different worldviews, and since there is no one right way to manage money, no one is wrong either. Ultimately, we make financial decisions based on our personal experiences and worldview. Compound King's Warren Buffett is often regarded as one of the greatest investors of all time. What's staggering is that 97% of his $84.5 billion fortune was made after he turned 65. The key to Buffett's success wasn't just being a good investor, it was starting early. Buffett began investing at age 10, and because of this, he was able to harness the power of compounding. Consider this. If you invest $1,000 at an 8% annual return, you'd earn $80 after the first year. In the second year, you'd earn interest on both the original $1,000 and the $80 of interest you earned the previous year, so your return grows to $86.40. Over time, this compounding effect grows exponentially. Buffett's wealth didn't come from making the best decisions all the time. It came from starting early, staying disciplined, and letting compounding work its magic. Imagine if Buffett had spent his early income on lavish experiences instead of investing it. If he had only started at age 30 with $25,000 and invested the same way, by age 60, his net worth would be just $11.9 million, not $84.5 billion. The real lesson here is that wealth is built over time. Buffett's secret to success isn't just his skill as an investor, it's the time he's been investing and compounding his money. The importance of time. While Buffett is the richest investor of all time, his returns aren't the highest. Jim Simons, for example, has compounded money at an incredible 66% annually since 1988. But Simons' fortune is only $21 billion, a fraction of Buffett's. Why? Because Simons started investing seriously in his 50s, giving him fewer years for compounding to work its magic. If Simons had started investing at a younger age, his net worth today could be astronomical. Housel humorously estimates it at $63.90 quintillion. The point is this: the power of compounding and the time invested are often more important than the rate of return. Pessimism and money. We are often biased toward pessimism when it comes to money. This makes sense, considering that bad news, like a stock market crash, draws our attention, while good news tends to go unnoticed. But over time, things do tend to improve. The key is that good things take time. Money, like most things in life, doesn't offer immediate rewards. The slow, incremental progress, like the 140% gain in the stock market over 6 years, often goes unnoticed compared to the dramatic downturns that capture our attention. The trick is to stay optimistic over the long term. Recognize that, even though things may be tough now, over time the odds of a positive outcome are in your favor. Two forgotten elements. In 1968, a small group of students at a Seattle school called Lakeside had access to something rare: a computer. Bill Gates was one of these students, and his access to technology changed his life. However, Gates was not the only talented student at Lakeside. His friend Kent Evans was equally bright. Tragically, Kent died in a mountaineering accident before he could graduate high school. The odds of a teenager dying in such an accident are about 1 in a million. This tragic event highlights an important point: success is shaped by both luck and risk. It's not just about talent or hard work. External factors, often outside our control, also play a significant role. The key to happiness: many people pursue wealth in the hope of finding happiness. But, as Housel points out, the key to happiness is not just having more money, it's having the freedom to do what you want, when you want, with whom you want, for as long as you want. True happiness comes from control over your time, not from accumulating more possessions or money. Studies show that well-being is more closely tied to time freedom than income or career status. Pursuing wealth without valuing time is like filling a bucket with a hole in it. It will never bring lasting happiness. True wealth is about self-control and the ability to enjoy life without constantly striving for more. Tale events: Heinz Berggruen, a successful art dealer, became one of the wealthiest collectors by buying a large volume of art, holding it for a long time, and waiting for a few pieces to become valuable. Most of the artwork he bought had little value, but a few masterpieces, like works by Picasso, made up for everything else. This is a great example of long-tail events, where a small number of rare events can account for most of the outcomes. In business, this often means that a few big wins can outweigh a large number of smaller losses. Venture capital works in a similar way. Most startups fail, but a few big successes can make up for the losses. True wealth versus being rich. Being rich refers to your current income and assets, while true wealth is about what you've saved and invested for the future. True wealth isn't about flaunting flashy cars or expensive jewelry. It's about what you don't spend. Wealth is built through self-control and the ability to save and invest wisely. We often confuse the appearance of wealth with true financial security. But the real key to building wealth is not spending money on luxuries but accumulating assets that grow over time. The real price investing is like climbing a mountain. The path to success isn't always clear, and the climb is difficult and uncertain. Yet, we understand that this uncertainty and risk are part of the price we pay to reach the top. In the stock market, people often want to skip the risk and volatility, like trying to steal a car instead of paying the full price. But successful investing requires accepting the price of uncertainty and volatility. Ultimately, the key is to see that price as an admission fee to the rewards that come with investing over time. Don't try to avoid the price of volatility. Accept it as part of the journey. Hedonic treadmills. Knowing when enough is enough. The pursuit of wealth can be all-consuming if you don't know when to stop. The concept of the hedonic treadmill refers to the cycle where each achievement leads to the next, with no sense of satisfaction or contentment. People like Bernie Madoff and Rajat Gupta, despite having everything, still sought more and resorted to crime. Their stories show the dangers of always striving for more without knowing when enough is enough. We need to recognize when we've reached enough. Otherwise, the pursuit of more can lead to burnout, dissatisfaction, and a loss of happiness.